There's a theory that follow One Piece since the very beginning. A single letter, a middle initial, one that turns ordinary names into something terrifying to the world government. Monkey D. Luffy, Gol D. Roger, Marshall D. Teach, Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, Jaguar D. Saul. Why do all these people carry the same initial, and what do they have in common? They laugh in the face of death. They change the world. They fight for something no one else dares to. Freedom. And they all carry what's been called the Will of D. But what if that will wasn't just a philosophy? What if it was a person's will? What if that person was the legendary pirate ghost himself, Davy Jones? Today we explore the theory that the Will of D isn't just a mystery, it's a legacy, a rebellion, in the name the world government tried to bury at the bottom of the sea. Before we dive into the world of One Piece, let's start with the real world legend. Davy Jones is a name sailors feared for centuries, not because he was a man, but because of what he represented. In maritime folklore, Davy Jones' locker was the bottom of the sea, a sailor's grave, the place where lost souls of the ocean ended up. In 1751, author Tobias Smollett wrote of Davy Jones as the fiend that presides over all the evil spirits of the deep, a ruler of the sea's dead, a keeper of cursed souls. Sound familiar? Oda has often admitted he draws inspiration from real pirate myths. In fact, the entire world of One Piece is built on the foundation of seafaring legends. Quote from Oda: "Pirates in history have a lot of mysteries around them. I wanted to take that mystery and stretch it out into a full world." Oda, SBS Volume 28. So what if Davy Jones isn't just a myth? What if in the world of One Piece, he was real? A pirate king who came before Roger. Someone so dangerous, so world-changing, that the world government erased him from history. Let's return to the mystery of the D. Not just a letter, but a symbol of resistance, a pattern we've seen again and again in One Piece. Characters who defy the world itself. Gol D. Roger, Monkey D. Luffy, Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, Jaguar D. Saul, Monkey D. Tracky, they all carry the D and they all shake the foundations of power. But there is one more name, one even more dangerous. A man the world government tried to erase entirely. Rox B. Xebec. Before Roger, before Whitebeard, there was Rox, a man who's taught to become king of the world, the original devil of the seas. So terrifying, the world government wiped his name from history. Here's the twist. In the manga, it's revealed that Rox was a fan of Davy Jones. He admired the legend, studied the lore, and many believe he wanted to recreate what Davy started. From what we know, Rox seems like the type of character who goes, "Davy Jones, he was the first who challenged the gods. I'll finish what he started." Now imagine this. If Davy Jones was the original rebel, and Rox was inspired by him, then the Will of D could truly be the Will of Davy. A will passed down from the darkest depths of pirate history, a fire that spread from Davy to Rox to Roger and now to Luffy. And this could very well mean that somehow Jolly Boy and Davy Jones are somehow related. Quote from Miko Robin in Ennis Lobby. Those with the initial D in their name are said to be the enemies of the gods. The gods are the celestial dragons, the ones who erased the void century, the ones Davy Jones may have once fought. Quote from Whitebeard and Marineford. One day someone will carry centuries of history on their back and challenge the world. Now we know that someone might be Luffy, but the will he's carrying might have belonged to Davy Jones himself. Joy Boy lived during the Void Century. The erased era of the world government doesn't want anyone to uncover. We know he made a promise to Fishman Island involving the massive Ark Noah, and he failed to fulfill it. He carved an apology into a poneglyph in the sea forest so future generations would know. That very promise was tied to Poseidon, the ancient weapon reborn as a mermaid princess who can command sea kings. Joy Boy planned to help bring Fishman to the surface. That's not just kindness, that's system level change to the world order, the kind of move the celestial dragons would bury. Later in the future, Gol D Roger reached the final island, saw what Joy Boy left behind, and laughed, naming it Laugh Tale. Whatever Joy Boy passed now was powerful enough to shake the Pirate King, and so dangerous, the world government never claimed it. Centuries later, on Onigashima, an ancient being heard something it hadn't heard in 800 years, the drums of liberation. The giant elephant Zunisha declared, "Joy Boy has returned." That moment happened the instant Luffy awakened his true power. When Zunisha recognized Joy Boy and Luffy, it wasn't saying Luffy is the same person. It was recognizing the will, the rhythm, the spirit, something ancient that re-emerges through those who inherit it. That idea matches what we've heard before, that wills, names, and trains are passed down through time and cannot be erased. Here's where the theory locks in. If Davy Jones was the original pirate rebel, the first to oppose the gods, then Joy Boy may have been the next generation who inherited Davy's mission during the Void Century. Joy Boy tried to unite the races, free the seas, and leave behind records, the Poneglyph network, so the truth couldn't be erased again. That sounds exactly like someone who is trying to carry on a buried will. If the world government erased Davy's full name from history, only fragments could survive. Written records might collapse names down to an initial, D. Over generations, people remembered the initial, but forgot the source. That's why today, even most carriers of the name don't know what it means. And someone else was digging for those secrets. Rox D. Xebec studied the forbidden history the government tried to bury. Recent discussion around the new chapter material even notes Rox admired Davy Jones and used Davy Back style recruitment to build his monster crew. That means the path from Davy to Joy Boy might have passed through Rox before it reached Roger and Luffy. We'll come back to this. This is where the mystery goes from maybe to what if everything has been hiding in plain sight. Oda has teased us for decades with the mystery of the D. Entire communities have speculated what it could stand for. Danger, devil, dawn. Some even joked and said it's just donuts for Luffy's appetite. But none of those fully explain why the world government fears it. If we take a step back and think like pirates, we remember one name always tied to death at sea: Davy Jones. The idea is simple. D wasn't the symbol, it was a name. Davy, the original pirate king, a man who lived before the Void Century, a man who declared war against the ruling powers and was erased from history. All these opposed the celestial dragons or the world government. That's not ideology, that's inheritance, a shared instinct, the flame of rebellion passed down through generations. If the world government feared this man so much, they may have erased all mention of his name, except one thing they couldn't erase: his initial. So it survived in descendants, in pirates, scholars, and revolutionaries. The will of Davy shortened to just B. Doflamingo's brother stated, "The people of the D are the ones who will bring forth a storm." Still think this is a stretch? Let's go back to the Davy Back Fight, a mysterious pirate game introduced during the Long Ring Longland arc. A game with a bizarre name, even more bizarre rules. What if it's not random? Oda didn't call it the Pirate Challenge or the Jolly Roger War. He called it Davy Back Fight. And what was the prize? Crew members. Pirates risking their loyalty, their identity, in a game tied to Davy's name. This is eerily close to how Gol D Xebec built his own crew, poaching Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard. Some fans now believe he was inspired by the same tradition, the same man, Davy Jones. We're led to believe Davy Jones is just a myth, but what if he was the very foundation of piracy, the original pirate who started the era of freedom on the seas, who stood up to the first celestial dragons, who left behind his will passed through Joy Boy, Rox, Roger, and Luffy. The world government erased his name from history, but they couldn't erase what he left behind. The Will of D isn't a random letter. It's a legacy, a rebellion, and it may have all started with a name they hoped we'd forget: Davy. To the world government, Luffy is just another pirate, but to us and to the story, he's so much more. He doesn't seek treasure for power. He doesn't want to rule. He wants freedom for himself and everyone around him. That's the essence of Davy's will. Luffy, and I quote, "If you aren't free, you're not really alive." Every D we've met has smiled in the face of death. Roger smiled at his execution. Saw laughed as he was frozen. Luffy was reborn while smiling. In Marineford, Sam Goku even says, "Those with the D always cause trouble when they die." It's not just about living freely. It's about dying without fear. Something passed down from a man like Davy Jones, who ruled the graveyard of the sea. Luffy's Gear 5 is called the Awakening of Joy Boy. He becomes laughter incarnate. Reality bends around him. The sky turns white. His heart plays the drums of liberation. But what if this awakening isn't just Joy Boy's return? What if it's the final echo of Davy Jones' spirit? A pirate whose will has been passed down for 900 years, waiting for someone who can carry it, not with rage, but with joy. Zunisha, and I quote, "I hear it, the drums of liberation. Joy Boy has returned." When Gol D Roger reached Laugh Tale, he laughed, but he couldn't change the world. He was too early. But someone else would come, someone who could. He believed in inherited will, that someone in the future would finish what he and Joy Boy started. That person is Monkey D. Luffy, not just the successor to Roger, not just the rebirth of Joy Boy, but possibly the final bearer of the will of Davy Jones. In the end, Davy's will isn't just about pirates or power. It's about freedom, from tyranny, from lies, from the chains of fate. That's what Luffy fights for. That's why his crew follows him. That's why he laughs. And that's why he might be the one to bring the seas full circle. For most of One Piece, we believed the world government was ruled by the celestial dragons. But then came Imu, a shadow monarch who sits on the empty throne, a being with power over all the seas, and a history so deeply hidden, not even the Gurosei speaketh him freely. Quote from the Gurosei at the reverie, "Imu-sama, What shall we do with the light that must be extinguished? We know evil marks certain individuals as threats to the world, and every single one of them shares something in common. They either bear the will of D or they seek the truth of history. Luffy, Vivi, Shirahoshi, even Cobra, a man who asked about the void century, was instantly erased. Nico Robin once said, "Those with the D are known as enemies of the gods," but it goes deeper than that. Those gods know exactly who D was, and they're still trying to wipe him out. Because if the truth got out that Davy Jones was real, that he nearly ended their reign, that his will is still alive in pirates like Luffy, it would shatter everything. This is where Rocks returns, the one man before Roger who got too close to the truth. He admired Davy Jones, studied ancient pirate lore, and may even have tried to recreate his mission, a rebellion powerful enough to challenge the celestial dragons head-on at God Valley. And what happened to Rocks? Erased. Just like Davy, his name wiped from every textbook, his dream inherited by the next Gol D Roger. Quote from Sengoku: "Rocks aimed to become the king of the world, and he nearly succeeded. But there's one thing Emo, the Celestials, the entire world government can never stop: inherited will. Passed down through Joy Boy, through Roger, through Luffy. You can erase a name, you can silence a voice, but you cannot destroy a dream. And Davy's dream, to free the seas from tyranny, may be even closer than ever to being fulfilled." Maybe the will of D was never just a mystery. Maybe it was a man, a king, a rebel, lost to time, but not to memory. A name they tried to bury, but one the sea never forgot. Davy Jones. Pirate of legend, enemy of the gods, the flame that started it all. Jolly Boy tried to carry his mission. Roger tried to revive it. Roger passed it all. And now, it burns brighter than ever in Monkey D. Luffy. Not because of destiny, but because he chose to live free. And that is the real treasure. If you made it this far into my ramble, you're one of the rare ones chasing the truth beneath the surface. Drop a like if this theory or die sounding crazy on the internet. Open your eyes, share it with a friend who needs to hear it, and comment below, DS for Davy if you believe the sea remembers. This is more than a theory, it's a legacy, one we're all part of now. Call me No Face, the face of this channel.